What's going on, Shibari family? XO Adonis speaking once again. So in today's video, we're going to hop right into it. This is the Munter Hit corset. There are many corsets that are in my arsenal, and these are just one of the very few I wanted to share with you today. It's very self-tie friendly, very beginner friendly. Now, in order to do this, you will need at least 3 ropes, 2 30-foot ropes, and 1 15. This is a 15 segment right here. I used 30 here, and I did 30 for the band. Now, if you have the rope and the time, I would strongly recommend to further this corset even further down with about 30 to 50 foot of rope to really give it that full corset look. And if you don't have the rope, I would like to take this time to give a special shout out to our sponsors over at Dyadic Rope. Now, if you're looking for strong, vibrant rope that will not break on you, I will leave a link down in the description. You will have my 10% off code when you spend $100 or more. A few things I would like to mention. I would also like to mention that if you're a bigger size person, or maybe you're tying up somebody who's a bigger size person, this harness will be very flattering on their body and very shapely to their body. I also want everybody to have a set of safety shears, because safety is important, especially if you're doing a live person. Now, enough with the talking, it's time to get started. Okay, rope family, so the first thing you're going to want to do is find the bite of your rope. Now, you know, in most cases, when we're doing harnesses, a lot of times we'll bring it around and we'll make our first band that way. We're going to do the same thing, but the only difference is that we're going to put that band along here. So you're going to take your bite and you're going to put it through their legs. So you're going to take the bite and you're going to put it in between their legs, and we're going to create the lark's head this way. Now, when you're doing this, definitely make sure that you're checking in with your model. You want it a little bit towards the traps. You know, you don't want it exactly on the shoulder. You never want rope on bone. So definitely check in with your model and see, you know, what is comfortable, what works for them. So this is what we're working with right now. This is what it's looking like. And you're gonna look for a Y shape. So you're gonna bring it around and it's gonna make a certain type of Y type shape. Over the shoulder. We're gonna go back down. I know y'all see it already. And when you're doing this, try to have the bottom be at like this V shape too, like, you know, to really give that corset feel. But you're gonna adjust where you want these bands before you really lock things down, and then we're just gonna put this in between the legs again. I have it in my hands. This is what it's looking like. So before we lock anything off, we're going to turn it back around and we're really going to adjust. Because once we lock this down, it's going to be slightly more difficult to really get it exactly where you want it. That looks good to me. Now we're going to take this rope and just put it over. Like so, and then from here you can just definitely just burn the rope as you see fit, but I'm just going to leave it here just for the sake of leaving it right there. Okay, next we'll be doing the corset part along this area. You will need to know how to do the Munter hitch, and I will briefly go over it, but I do have a tutorial for that just in case for those who don't know how to do the Munter hitch. Now let's begin. So in order to do the corset part of this, you're going to look for the strongest stem right here. For me, I believe that is this one. And you're going to take the bite, and we're going to create the lark's head. So just put it through the bite, like so, the leading lines. Just tighten that up, and that's what it's looking like. And from there, we wrap around the waist. And we're going to do our first Munter hitch right here. Alright y'all, so our worst fear has come to pass. We've had technical difficulties and the sound went out, so I'm just going to voice everything over. Maybe you guys will prefer this. Let me know in the comments. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our first Munter hitch. For those who don't know how to do the Munter hitch, please report to either our Munter hitch video or the single arm Futamoma video. It will show you. But we're going to make our first Munter hitch right here. I'm just adjusting my lines, making sure everything's where I want it to be. And then we're going to go over like so, and then under the purple line and just run it through. Standard Munter hitch. Now this is where everyone needs to be paying close attention, because you don't want to do the Munter hitch the same way on that side, because it'll be facing the same way. To give it that corset look, you really want it to face the opposite way. So I'm going to show you how to reverse it. Okay, so we're going to take our line, we're going to take our leading line and we're going to put it behind, like so. And then the hole that you just created, you're just going to push it through. And that will get the Munter hitch facing the opposite direction. This is definitely a good harness to practice your Munter hitches and learning how to make them face the different directions, up, down, any way you want them to go. There's always a process, and this is just one of them that we're seeing today. And you can always easily adjust this. This is one thing I really like about this harness. And then from there, we're going to go all the way around. Make sure you're keeping the tension. And we're going to wrap all the way around. And we're going to do that process again. Standard Munter hitch. You're going to go under, then over ourselves, and then under. Okay, so remember, we have to have these Munter hitches facing the opposite direction. So we're going to go behind, make that loop, and then put the loop through. Exactly. You guys are doing beautifully. If you've gotten to this point, you can bust it all the way down. And then from there, we're just going to go back around again. And I believe in y'all. From here, we're just following the same pattern. So Munter hitch, reverse Munter hitch, around. And we're just going to keep doing that. So now you need a 15-foot rope. You could stop it right here if you like. You know, the corset is done, but you know, I like to add my own little spice and seasoning to things. So we're just going to do this top part right here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to secure the 15-inch rope in the back, like so, just like how I did here. And then from there, we're going to go over the shoulder. Now this method we're about to do, it is called the half hitch. We're just going to go behind, like so. And it almost looks like a figure 8 when you're looking at it. It looks like the top of an 8. That's what you want to look for. And then from there, you just kind of adjust. And then we're going to do the same thing, just going down. So we're over that. tuck it under like so. And now our leading line, we're going to put it right there and give it that crossing motion. And then from here, we're just going to go behind. And do our last half hitch. And if you did this the right way, it should land on the opposite shoulder. And then from there you just make your adjustments. But I think this is a very nice add-on to this harness. It gives it a little bit more fullness and a little bit more depth. Now, like I said, you don't have to do this. This is not something that is required. You can always add to this and add even more things. But we're just going to secure it in the back here right now. Okay, rope family, the harness is complete. Now, if you've gotten to this point, I'm extremely proud of you. There are a million ways to do corsets, and I think corsets are definitely one of the most beautiful harnesses that you can really do when you're doing decorative ties. This is definitely something you want to have under your belt, and you will definitely expand from there. So, with that being said, I'll catch y'all on the next one.